And we have a very special guest here on The Real Story this morning, Bobby Rumbold, here to talk about all things UConn. This is a very big weekend for UConn because they played a series with Notre Dame, which has been very controversial. People have looked forward to it, but it's also been very controversial.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame is, the big program, Newt Rogney and all that, and, storied program that's kind of fallen on hard times. And they've kind of put the heat on UConn from the point of view of they don't want to play here at the Rent. You got to go out there, but they want to play at Gillette Stadium and they want to play at Giants Stadium and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And, so far UConn's acquiesced at this point, and they said, okay, well, we'll go out there and we will play at those places. But, they've found some other teams to play. They're going to be playing the University of Michigan. Michigan's willing to, they're willing to come here, and Tennessee is willing to come here. And they're two big programs. Tennessee plays in the Southeast Conference. They play in the best conference in college football. So those teams are willing to come to the Rent and play before 44,000.
Are we doing this for the exposure because of their more storied programs than we are?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's got history on its side, and it's kind of been the beginning of trying to play bigger and better schools. Randy Edsall is more than willing to play these people and more than willing to go to those places. But now that they have their own facility, well, let's reciprocate. Most of these schools do that. They'll, you come to our place, and we'll be willing to come to your place.
Right.
And, at this point, Notre Dame wants the big gate.
Yeah.
And, they have big donors, and they have lots of money and this and that. But
it is insulting, though, to me.
Well, it is very insulting really to UConn fans. I know the school wants it from a point of view of, getting the name out, and they're playing Notre Dame, and they know they're going to be on national TV because Notre Dame does have a national TV contract, which I think irks some Big East people from the point of view of they have their own contract, and the Big East has its own contract. So, but that's one of those things where maybe down the line we don't play those things.
Right.
We'll see what happens with that one.
All right, let's switch over to UConn basketball, which is off to a pretty tough start, right? I haven't had the chance to watch any of the games yet because I'm always working, but I know that they have had some trouble. What is it exactly that is giving them trouble?
I think it's youth. It's youth. A.J. Price, Hashim Thabit, Jeff Adrian, gone. They're all, they're all out the door. They're done at UConn. And so now it's kind of a combination of, you got Stanley Robinson and Kemba Walker's only a sophomore. So it's a young group of guys. You can see Jim not too happy, they were down 9 to Hofstra the other night before they kind of became UConn again. I mean, UConn has a lot of speed. They've got Artur Majuk, who will come back in as a center in December. He'll be eligible. Alex Oriaki, that kid, 34, he's 6'9", he's playing center at the moment, so that's kind of undersized for, the Big East. But he's a pretty good player. I think with time they'll be fine. It's just kind of getting their sea legs and figuring out, who does what and where and whatnot. And when they want to, when they can get out and run, this is a fast team. It's probably a faster team because last year's club was much more oriented toward, the big guy in the middle and Thabit, and then you'd work around them with the rebounders.
Right.
Now it's a bunch of, water bugs, guys that can fly, and, sooner or later, they'll be fine.
I do understand, though. I mean, I understand getting your sea legs, but then there's being down 9 to Hofstra. I mean,
I know.
Not to be overly critical,
Hofstra's not bad. They've played a couple of tough games against top 10 teams besides UConn. Okay. And, some of these mid-major teams, they're experienced. They all have seniors. They all have kids that know how to play the system of whatever the coach is. So they all, they know how to get open. They all can shoot. They're not as big. So, if you can get them running and gunning like when UConn did, well, then UConn becomes the better team, which they are.
Well, and that must be what's reflected in their preseason rankings, right?
Yeah, I mean, even though they lost these guys, they're still ranked in the top 15.
Right.
They're ranked 12th, and in another poll, they're ranked 13th. So they still have a lot of quality players. Jim still gets good. His recruiting classes are always good. Right. I mean, the young guys he's got coming in, and, this Alex Oriaki and whatnot, and Artur Majuk, they're good players, and it's just the idea that it's a work in progress from the point of view of these guys getting used to playing the Calhoun way, because if you don't, you're out. You've seen guys on the yo-yo, especially
they get pulled,
the young guys, and until they kind of develop and do what they're supposed to, it's one of those things. And plus, Jerome Dyson's coming back from a knee injury. I mean, he's part of the kind of the answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's such a quality player and so explosive. I think when he gets healthy. And he's still coming back from a knee injury, and those things are slow, even though he's still got the jumps. But, when he gets it going, they'll be fine. I mean, they've done it right. so that the Big East, and they'll get the big games coming up in January and whatnot. Right. They'll be okay.
It does not look as if the UConn women, though, are going to be having any problems, right?
Ooh, boy, they are good. I mean, here they lose. I mean, Renee Montgomery was probably one of the top 5 players in the country last year. She graduates, but no biggie. They're playing Texas down in San Antonio. This Texas team's ranked 11th in the country. And UConn just beat them up. I mean, they were up, for the most part, better part of the game that was in the 30s. It was a little closer at the end because, Gino cleared the bench. And but they're tough.
And it's not only the returning people like Maya Moore and Tina Charles, but you have there's a returning Caroline Doty. And you have a new freshman who's the superstar, right?
Yeah, and Kelly Ferris. Well, Kelly Ferris is getting a lot of playing time. She's one of those players that's got, fundamentally sound, Gino's kind of player, that kind of thing, who's really gonna make things happen. And plus, what they've got now is, they just got quality. Kylie McLaren comes off the bench and a great passer. They play this, if you're big into this basketball, they play this high post thing, and they do all these backdoor cuts, and they've got so much speed and so much athleticism that, replacing Renee, they have the gal Tiffany Hayes. She's really good. Doty's really good. They can all shoot.
Who's going to be their toughest opponent?
Oh, boy, that's a tough. Well, sometime they'd like to play Tennessee.
Well, what is that? Yeah, because Pat Summitt, right? She made some comments.
Yeah, she's not too happy with Gino. But and
were that her latest comments this week? Were that she's not interested in rekindling that thing?
No, she's not interested in rekindling what would be the greatest rivalry in women's college basketball. But too bad for her.
But they're not. I'm sure they're a great program, but they are not as good as they've been in the past.
They had a down year last year. This year's team will be better. This year's team will probably be running for the championship, but they're on their way back. It's right now it's UConn, and then I hate to tell you, but there's probably 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 teams that are on that next level below them. I mean, they're just rolling on all cylinders. And even the other day, I don't think Gino was totally. Well, he's never totally happy anyway. Mm-hmm. But
he's rough on him.
Yeah, which is funny to watch. Better them than me, but but they are really good.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining
You're
us
welcome.
today. It was interesting to switch things up, talk a little sports.
Good to see you.
Along with politics and current events. I appreciate you being here.
You bet.
Thanks so much. And don't forget, if you missed something here on The Real Story, you can now watch it online by going to fox61.com, or you can also watch the show on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching this week's edition of The Real Story. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. We'll see you here again next time. Nick, I'm really worried about Pat. I just think something's not right, because it's not even like we can't even reach him. That's what's so disturbing.